This week on Lewis on the Law, I have Kayla Johnston and Terrell Thomas from the City of Atlanta's Public Defender's Office, and we're going to talk about the Georgia hands-free law and traffic violations just in general. So hold on to your seats. We've got a great show coming up for you.
Welcome to Lewis on the Law.
You are listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and I've got another great show for you guys this week. And this show is all about empowering you, the listener, with legal information. And in honor of that, I have the City of Atlanta, two public defenders here from the City of Atlanta. Of course, Terrell Thomas is making his second appearance on my show. Welcome back, Terrell.
That's right. What's going on, James?
There you go. And we have Kayla Johnston also. And we're going to talk today about the Georgia hands-free law. And not only that, but we're going to touch on some other traffic issues too, right?
Absolutely. Some traffic do's and don'ts.
Awesome. So this Georgia hands-free law, I got to tell you guys, it causes me a lot of problems. I know friends, I'm not saying that I do this, but I know friends who are still having trouble with that and, touching their phone constantly while they're driving. So let's get back. Let's get into this a little bit. Let's get into the background. How does this evolve?
Well, essentially where it started from where, since around 2014, the state of Georgia had seen an increase in traffic incidents and fatalities. I think around between 1,000 and 1,100 starting in 2014, and it went up about 500 more fatalities a year coming into 2017. The legislators.
Wow. So wait a minute. So they're attributing this to people being on their cell phones, obviously?
As one of the main factors, definitely not all of them, but as far as distracted driving in general, being the main force causing the increase in traffic incidents, accidents, and fatalities. And so they wanted to look into some legislation that could kind of curb that as it kept on increasing. And for the listeners that don't know, and I actually didn't know, texting and driving itself has actually been illegal since 2010 in the state of Georgia.
Say it's not so,
right.
Really?
So, but back then, I guess the law was you just can't text and drive. So you were still able to hold your phone and I guess speak on your phone or have it on speakerphone in your lap. But now with this new law, with the amendment to that statute, you no longer can hold your phone at all, period.
Oh, well, I guess that gets rid of the excuse, officer, I'm not really texting, I'm just holding my phone.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So it actually House Bill 673, that's what they call the hands-free law, actually taken into effect this year, July 1st, 2018. It makes Georgia the 17th state to actually adopt this kind of law. The other 16, and I guess another reason why the legislators looked into it was because the 15 or 16 other states, including the District of Columbia, have similar laws, and they saw that after the application and enforcement of those laws, the traffic incidents and fatalities went down in those states, and then actually in about 6 of those states, the fatalities decreased by about over 20%.
Wow, that's amazing. Did it decrease immediately, or did it happen gradually over a period of time?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but being that a lot of that legislation had been recent, so it's probably
pretty quickly, huh?
More recently.
Yeah.
And Georgia's actually on track, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Georgia's actually on track to, at this point, of having reduced fatalities at this point in the year.
Wow, that's amazing, because I still have a lot of friends, not saying me personally, but I have a lot of friends who still are constantly fidgeting with their phones
It's
while
a
they're
tough
driving.
habit to break. It's
It
a
is.
tough habit to break. So.
Yeah.
Not saying that I do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
yeah.
Just speaking in general, of course.
Yeah. And, some of them even have Bluetooth car systems, and they're still on their phones.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so how is this new law different then? I mean, I guess you can't touch your phone at all.
Right. So we can actually just hop right into the statute expressly. It's OCGA 46-241, the distracted driving statute, basically subsection C. While operating a motor vehicle on any highway of this state, no individual shall physically hold or support with any part of his or her body a wireless telecommunications device, provided that such exclusion shall not prohibit the use of an earpiece, headphone device, or device worn on a wrist to conduct a voice-based communication, and also shall not write, send, or read any text-based communication. So essentially, what the law is saying is, don't hold your phone for any reason whatsoever. So you can't hold your phone or use any part of your body to support it or touch it. Nor can you listen to music with your headphones. There are some exceptions when you're using navigational devices or wireless headsets for voice-directed type of mechanisms, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But essentially, you cannot hold your phone or support it with any part of your body anymore.
Wow. So that means you can't even have it on your lap because I mean, I thought maybe getting around it, you could kind of wedge it in between your leg and
right. And how can the officer tell, right? But
yeah, exactly.
we've actually spoken to some officers, and from their point of view, they're trained on traffic stops, right? So from their perspective, or what we've been told, it's pretty obvious when you're supposed to be looking straight ahead in the direction of the road as opposed to dead staring down in your lap. So.
Okay. So what about, they sell those things all the time, like, at the quick, pickup line at Walmart or whatever, where you like stick it in your air vent and you put your phone on that. Is that okay?
The mount.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, James. Actually, the phone mounts are okay. They actually want you to have a phone mount. We've seen from experience in our courtroom that, individuals who get cited, if they bring in a phone mount or some sort of device showing they're not going to have the phone in their hand, they actually will not have to pay a penalty for being cited.
Wow, that is great information. So even if you got a ticket in the first place, if you go and correct the problem and get a phone mount, you may be able to reduce your fine or maybe get it waived completely?
Absolutely. Now, that's only going to be for your first offense.
Okay.
Only for the first offense. So courts are being very strict and adhering to the statute. For the first offense, you bring in a device showing you are not holding onto your phone, and they will waive that fee.
Wow.
And so to that point, so hypothetically speaking, let's say you get ticketed for texting and driving, or holding your phone today, October 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would need to provide proof of purchase or receipt of a phone mount sometime after October 24th. Bring it to court with you, and the solicitors will then go ahead and dismiss your case. Go ahead and dismiss that citation.
Wow, that is really helpful information, just in case some friends of mine, who fidget with their phones a lot, get caught doing that.
So with the going ahead more through the law here, there are some exceptions.
Just as to every rule, there are some exceptions. So, if you're driving, obviously in Georgia, there are a lot of traffic accidents. So if you're reporting one of those accidents, you would be able to use your phone. If it was a medical emergency, you were calling for help. You were calling for help for another individual. If you're an employee or a contractor that's out doing any sort of utility work, you're able to use your phone. If you are lawfully parked, and when we say lawfully parked, your vehicle has to be in the parked position. You can't be stopped at a red light. You can't be stopped in front of a restaurant or merely in a traffic jam, but you have to actually be parked. You are able to use your phone and have it in your hand.
Oh, now that's one of my actual favorite things to do. And I'll admit, I do this. I won't admit to anything else, but I actually thought it was okay that once you came to complete stop at a red light, you could go ahead and look for directions or change your musical selection on your phone. But that's not okay, huh?
No, and there's actually some guidance by the Georgia Governor's Office of Highway Safety, and they basically define parked as it means off the road and in a place where it's legal to park.
So you can't just pull off to the side of the road, readjust your directions on your phone, and then get going again.
Oh well, I think that's a matter of interpretation. With this being a new law, it's not a lot of clarification. There are a lot of ambiguities and a lot of things open for discussion. So hypothetically, you're saying like if you're on an interstate and you pulled over to the shoulder of the road and put your hazards on and turned your vehicle off, and you were looking to change your direction there, I would argue, it's not expressed in the statute, but I would argue that that's a place where you're lawfully allowed to be parked. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, that's helpful because I'm trying to think of how, it's really hard to exist in this world without actually looking at your phone at some point and pulling over just to get directions in case your phone like blinks out or whatever. You know what? We're coming up against a break right now, so we'll get back to it in a minute. You're listening to Lewis on the Law, and in the theme of empowering you, the listener, we have a regular feature with the city of Atlanta where they come and they give you information, legal information to help you in to help you deal with new facets of the law, new outcoming things in the law, things that you may not have realized were actually the law, like me with the red light situation. We're going to get more into this topic in a minute, but we'll be right back after these messages. You are listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and I have yet another awesome show for you guys. I have the city of Atlanta in with me, Terrell Thomas and Kayla Johnston, both assistant public defenders, and we are talking Georgia hands-free law. Now, my show comes to you each and every single week, and I bring you legal information. This is not designed to replace the advice of an attorney. If you actually have a serious legal issue, you need to go ahead and contract with an attorney. Don't rely on advice that you hear on this show, on a website, or some magazine that you've read. You need to go ahead and take it seriously and contract an attorney. You can always contact me at jameslewislegal.com or email me at james@jameslewislegal, and I may be able to help you with your issue. If I can't help you, I can definitely direct you to an attorney who can help you. My number is 404-610-0075. Every single one of my shows are archived on my website. So you can always go back through my website and take a look at a topic that you may be interested in and get the information that you need to steer you in the right direction to help you make a more informed and better legal decision. Now, when we were last talking, we were talking about parking on the side of the road, So what about listening to music? Because a lot of people now with the Bluetooth phones, it actually connects to their car. And, I don't even listen to the radio anymore. It's all just, YouTube, Spotify, or Pandora. And, I just switch back and forth. So what about that? Can you switch back and forth between, stations and maybe switch your playlist up?
Well, James, listening to music is okay, but you're unable to touch the phone and activate any sort of music change while you're actually driving.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
It is. It's very
what if
tough.
you don't like a song?
Yeah, what if, I don't know.
I guess it's got to be voice activated.
Yeah, hopefully you can change it via
Siri
voice, or you can
song.
push a button on your steering wheel. I have buttons on my steering wheel, so I'm able to control my radio from my steering wheel.
Yeah. I have
Yep.
buttons on my steering wheel too, but sometimes I like to change between different, different stations.
Absolutely.
Got about a zillion different stations programmed in with different topics, different playlists,
Absolutely.
And sometimes I like to switch them up.
Yep, it's tough. It's tough.
So just to clarify, you cannot touch your phone to change a song for any music application, any streaming device. You also can't watch any music YouTube videos while you're driving.
Now, I have seen that happen a lot. I've seen people; they've got the little mounts going, right?
Right, that's a step.
Yeah, they've got the mounts going, so they're all legal, and they think everything is kosher, and they're watching music videos or they're watching TV shows, because you can do that these days. You can get ESPN, Sling, everything right on your phone. You can watch the game, ESPN,
watch the Braves game, watch the Falcons game. You can watch all of that right on your phone. Right
now, people think that's legal. I mean, I would think that was legal because I've got I've got the little ESPN thing, and I like some college football on Saturday. And it's all on there.
So yeah, you definitely cannot do that, and that comes directly from the Georgia Governor's Office of Highway Safety. They expressly say drivers cannot watch videos when they are on the road, provided the exception for GPS directions, when you can look at your phone for something visual. Also, in regards to music, just to add to that. If you had headphones on, you cannot listen to music in your headphones, in your earpieces, in your AirPods. It has to be coming through the speakers of your vehicle.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So you can't have I don't know. Do people actually drive with headphones on? I haven't actually seen that very much. Does it happen?
Absolutely.
It actually happens?
Absolutely.
I'm like, isn't your stereo cranking good enough?
Yeah, some people do it. So
okay, well, it's a no-no just in case you guys are out there driving with headphones on, earbuds in, or whatever, and listening to music because your stereo isn't cranking like your Skull Candy or what are the kids listening to now? Beats.
Yeah, Beats by Dre, AirPods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. My age is showing. I'm like Skull Candy. That was hip when I was like. Okay, so. Now, say the worst case happens. You're in court. You don't have your little thing. What are the fines like? I mean, they can't throw you in jail over this, can they?
Well, typically no.
Typically no.
Typically no.
Typically
I
no.
mean,
That's not good. You guys are scaring me. I don't do well in jail.
there are a lot of ins and outs to that. But generally speaking, if you are cited and you do not bring in that hands-free device, the first conviction is a $50 fine. You will have to pay a $50 fine, and you get 1 point on your driver's license.
Ouch, because the points can hurt because they jack up your insurance. That's where it really
Absolutely.
kills you.
Absolutely.
They add up.
Now, if you end up having a second conviction, the fine increases. It is now $100, and you get 2 points on your license. The third and subsequent is $150, and you get 3 points on your license. So if you're aware and a cautious driver like I am, you don't want to get those points adding up, because 15 points in a 2-year period suspend your license.
Oh yeah, and I'm a money tight individual.
Absolutely.
I am very penny pinching. I'm just like, what points on my license? Insurance going up?
Insurance is already high enough as it is.
Exactly. And me and my wife, we have a couple of cars, and we've got insurance going, home stuff. We don't need any extra expenses at this point in our lives. So it's a very serious thing. So is there anything you can do to remedy these points against your license? I know this is a little bit off topic, but just in case that happens.
Absolutely. You can always do a defensive driving course.
Yep.
You can do a defensive driving course with any certified driving agency. You can turn in that certificate of completion to the Department of Driver Services, and it can be for a point reduction or either an insurance reduction.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So it won't do both, though. It won't do a point reduction and an insurance deduction. It's one and or the other. Is that correct?
I believe so. There should be a box to check. You can either do it for point reduction, insurance reduction, or other. And other is typically if a court may require you to do it or some other
That's if you
entity.
get something more than just a hands-free
Correct.
violation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Lord willing. Okay. So is that all about the penalties that we need to talk about here?
Essentially, yep. After your third one, it pretty based upon the reading of the statute, your third and subsequent, it's 6 at 150 and 3 points.
Wow. So what about your fourth?
Fourth, it's probably 150.
It's still
and 3
okay.
points.
So you
Yeah.
can just at that point, you might as well just go ahead and be a repeat offender, because
You're a
just
repeat offender.
you're just collecting points and collecting fines.
And then what is it? 15 points, and your license is in 2 years. You get 15 points over the course of 2 years. Your license will automatically be suspended,
Ouch.
and you won't be able to drive.
Now that is a serious threat there. I mean,
Right.
you can't even get around in Atlanta without driving hardly. I mean,
Not at all.
Nah.
yeah. I mean, MARTA helps, but Jesus Christ, you can spend hours on MARTA.
Right.
I can't remember the last time I actually got on a MARTA bus. I've done the train before. The trains are all
Yeah,
right.
the trains are okay.
Yeah. But the buses, that can take you hours.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the enforcement. Are cops really out there giving tickets on this issue?
From what I've seen in the courts, I'd say I see about 2 to 3 these citations a day. So I would say yes.
Ouch.
Earlier, previously coming when the law was first enacted or actually, put into effect on July 1st, they were given more warnings, right? Because just to give people a break to kind of ease them into the new law and the new change. So they were giving more warnings as opposed to citations. But now they're actually giving citations. Usually it's coupled with another driving infraction or an accident or something of that nature. So they are, but at the same time, we still see a lot of warnings. Or even our clients will tell us, like, yeah, I was texting on my phone, but, the officer just gave me a warning. So that's what they've been doing.
And I will just throw this tidbit out here. We were going to discuss this a little later, but I've seen lots of clients come in and they were stopped for being on their phone, which led to additional charges. They got pulled over for something else and end up getting more tickets because the officer saw them on their phone.
Okay, wait a minute. So they got pulled over for for their tail light being out, and the officer just happened to see that they had their phone in their lap, or they.
No, kind of the other way around. They may get pulled over for being on the phone and then maybe find out their license is suspended. Find out they have a warrant in another jurisdiction. And then they get arrested, and it becomes a much bigger issue, all because the officer saw them on their phone.
Or in a hypothetical situation, let's say you were texting or holding your phone, putting in a GPS when you weren't supposed to, you get pulled over. That's a probable cause to pull you over. The officer comes hypothetically by a vehicle and runs your information. Like she said, you have a warrant. He gives you a lawful command. You don't obey. That's obstruction. You're going to jail. He smells some type of illegal substance, and now you just gotten yourself in
a whole ball of trouble.
Exactly, just for simply texting and driving. right?
just
Or
holding
your
the phone.
Not even
Holding the
texting,
phone.
just holding
Just holding the
Just
phone.
holding the phone. So, but naturally, what we've been seeing, generally for the most part, what we've been seeing is just people coming in with their hand mounts, with the phone mounts, showing the receipt to the solicitor and, motions to dismiss, or they'll dismiss and merge that charge into some type of negotiated plea. So hasn't really been a big hassle, hasn't really been a big hassle in courts per se. And I think it's, we can get into a lot of the other collateral effects that it's been having as well, and what we've been seeing in just a minute.
Okay. So I'm actually surprised by that. We're going to get more into that. I have some questions now that you guys just brought up. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. We're up against a hard break here. I am in the studio with Kayla Johnston and Terrell Thomas from the City of Atlanta's Public Defender's Office. And in our ongoing mission to bring you information, they're here talking about the Georgia hands-free law. And we're going to talk about some other traffic issues also. If you need legal help, don't rely on this show only or any website that you go to. Go ahead and contract with an attorney. This show is designed only to bring you legal information. We do not give legal advice out over the air, nor do we form an attorney-client relationship through this show. I've got more stuff coming up. We're going to get more into this issue when we come back. You are listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and I am your host this week and every week with Lewis on the Law. And this show is designed to empower you with information, legal information to help you through, at least take your first step on any legal issue that you may face. Eventually, on my website, we'll have almost every single legal issue that you can even possibly think about cataloged. You'll be able to go there, reference it, and at least get pointed in the right direction, start to understand what you're looking for, what the issues you're faced with are. And you can contact me at jameslewislegal.com. You can go to my website. If you have a show idea or a topic for this show, you can go ahead and contact me on the last page of my website. Drop me a line. And if I like the topic, I'll bring an attorney in who actually knows something about it to talk about the issue. If I don't like the topic, well, never mind. I love you guys, so I'll probably like the topic. Just drop me a line. You can always email me at james@jameslewislegal. You can also give me a call at 404-610-0075. I have Terrell Thomas and Kayla Johnston in the studio with me. They're from the City of Atlanta's Public Defender's Office, and we are talking Georgia hands-free law. Now, I think there's going to be all kinds of confusion. When you guys came in here today, I didn't think there would be so much confusion, but now I'm thoroughly confused because sometimes I'm just like driving around with my phone in my hand, because I am, going to do something later, and I'm not doing it at that moment. But nonetheless, I'm still touching my phone. I've got my phone in my hand, so there's all kinds of confusion with earbuds and, so can you clear some of that up for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the listeners just checking in, just for clarification, the law essentially says that you can no longer hold or support or touch your phone, hold or support your phone with your hands or your body while driving or operating a motor vehicle in the state of Georgia. So don't hold your phone. Don't send any text messages. One of the main ambiguities or confusions that we've come across in court with some of our clients is, what about GPS? And there's essentially a one-touch rule in regards to...
Wait a minute, there's a one-touch rule, so I can touch my phone once?
Right, so you can touch it. So you can't hold it, but let's say you have it in a mount. So you're not holding it or touching it, but there's a one-touch rule in regards to starting or ending a call. There's some confusion about that, some ambiguity in regards to that. But mainly more we've been seeing is GPS usage. So if there's a GPS usage, which you're allowed to use your GPS while you're operating your motor vehicle. So let's say, that means you can start your route. But what does that really mean? Does that mean that you can touch it to type in the address? 2790 Peachtree Road. Can you do that?
Yeah, because sometimes you can just touch in a couple of numbers and the address pops up.
And then is that covered under the one-touch rule, or does that actually mean just start your route? Is that all you're allowed to do? So it's not really, and just I can actually just expressly read it. So going back to the statute where it says No individual shall physically hold or support with any part of his body a wireless telecommunications device, write, send, or read any text-based communication. That such prohibition shall not apply to the use of such device for navigation of such vehicle or for global positioning system purposes.
Wait a minute. So that means I can use it for navigation, right?
That's the whole ambiguity, right?
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, I would have to argue that.
Right.
I'm glad you read that to me. I'm going to actually cut that out and paste it in my car and say, "Officer, I'm an attorney. The law actually says this. That doesn't get you anywhere."
It's not good to try to have court. We generally tell our clients to not try to have court on the side of the road. Leave it for actual court, your lawyers, or you being a lawyer. Just wait for your day in court. But that's the whole ambiguity, because it doesn't say specifically what you can and can't do with your GPS device. Now, there may be some clarifications by some other government agencies interpreting that, but basically there's not much precedent. And that's with any new law, right? When any new law comes or an amendment comes, there's going to be some confusion, some things that's going to need to be cleared up by some court rulings, but there's not much precedent. I think Kayla can touch a little bit more on the lack of precedent with this new law so far.
Exactly. I mean, like he stated, whenever we get a new law, it's going to take some time for everyone to interpret it and figure out what it actually means and what the intent was. We did a little research and we looked at the seatbelt law, just having to wear your seatbelt. Back in 1980.
Wait a minute, was there ever a time?
Oh, absolutely. Back in 1984, it was only required for you to strap in children ages 3 to 4 in the back seat. 4 years later, they started making everyone who rode in the front seat wear a seatbelt. So the law started to evolve because they started seeing more instances where individuals were getting harmed.
Maybe it was only 1984 that you didn't have to wear a seatbelt? Is that correct?
That is 1984. And so, as I said, 4 years later, they evolved again. And now you have your passenger who can be cited. Even if you're driving, you have your seatbelt on. If your passenger does not, and the officer sees the passenger does not have on a seatbelt, the passenger can receive a citation, even though they're not operating the vehicle.
Wow, the passenger can receive a citation. Can you receive a citation if the passenger doesn't have a seatbelt? I just want to know.
No.
Okay.
If you have yours on, you won't receive a citation for your passenger.
Okay,
but your passenger will receive a citation in their name.
Wow, that's
horrible.
horrible.
They have to appear in court.
I mean, I don't let anybody in my car without a seatbelt on. Anyways,
that's a good practice.
That
would make me nervous because anything can happen. I've been hit before. People
especially in Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, exactly. That would make me nervous for someone sitting next to me not to have their seatbelt on. And plus, my car would keep beeping. It would go beep, beep, beep. I'm like, are you going to put that seatbelt on?
Yeah. So just with the seatbelt law and how it evolved over the years, we do expect that the hands-free law is going to evolve, and there's going to be some clarity to some of these issues in terms of what you can and cannot do. And, some attorneys, such as ourselves, potentially are going to bring some things to the light in courts, and judges are going to have to make decisions, and there's going to be some precedent set.
And there, just to piggyback off that, for some more clarification on whether you can touch your cell phone while it's in the vehicle to start or end the call, Heads Up Georgia, which is a part of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, they provided some frequently asked questions information that's available publicly on the web in regards to touching your cell phone. And they've stated, yes, the law would simply prohibit drivers from holding or supporting the phone. So that means, yes, you can start, or if an incoming call is coming in, you could press your phone to initiate the call and then press it again in, as long as it's in that mount. So
well, that's going to be a thing of the past. Most cars nowadays, all the new cars have the little button where you just push it and it answers the phone for you.
Right. So you can avoid any hassle altogether. So I mean, just going back to what we were saying earlier, people are generally just showing up, either paying a citation or coming into court with that receipt for the phone mount. Whether it's actually working, there's some statistics, but I think there's some collateral effects that we wanted to discuss. I don't think the penalties, I would argue, I think there's some discussion out there that the actual penalties, a $50 fine and a point, it's not really being a deterrent in itself. But just the
$50 fine, it may not be that bad, but points on your license, that starts to add up in other ways.
Arguably, most definitely. I think additionally, along with that, just the whole motions of the whole hassle of getting cited, having to take time off of work, Put in some paid time off to come to work, because you're going to have to come to court if you get cited with this. This isn't something you can pay online. You're going to have to physically appear in court.
Oh, wait a minute. That is good to know. So you can't just pay this one online? I mean, most tickets you can just go online and, just say, okay, whatever, I'm guilty. You got me.
It's going to depend on the jurisdiction.
It depends on the jurisdiction and interpretation of these courts, which goes back to us being a new law.
Okay.
But, once people are starting, but that's more people. When people come in with the phone mounts, that's one more person on the road that now has a phone mount, and one more person that's been to court and had to take a day off and had to pay the fine, or, just sitting in court all day subconsciously. The next time they have their phone in their hand, they're going to put it in the mount. And the next time they have the phone in their hand, it's going to subconsciously and arguably it's going to make them remember the time they got pulled over. So they're probably less inclined the next time, just because, man, I'm not trying to get a ticket for this. They're not really scared or, fear of going to jail, but they're just not trying to go through the hassle. Lastly, the fines can get expensive. And another thing we wanted to talk about in regards to the policy is car insurance is expensive.
Car insurance is expensive.
It's been increasing.
Yeah, you don't want that's one of the expenses you do not want to increase.
Exactly. So and just a little bit about it, I'm not a car insurance specialist, but generally car insurance rates are determined by a number of factors, usually state by state. So the traffic incidents, accidents, and fatalities in certain states attribute to insurance prices rising, along with other factors, of course, the economy, crime rates, et cetera, and stuff like that. But if the traffic accidents and fatalities go down, so essentially if those go down, then insurance rates are going to start to go down, right, in the state of Georgia. So this law is going in the direction of potentially curbing insurance rates, because we're on track as far as the number of fatalities for the year 2018.
Wait a minute. So are you saying the law may help to bring insurance rates down overall in Georgia?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So basically, the more fatalities, the more crashes, the higher the insurance rates are going to be on the state of Georgia. So by less people being driving while distracted, with more people having phone mounts, more people keeping their eyes on the road, less fatalities, less accidents. And so when those numbers come out and those numbers have been decreased, then insurance companies are assess that, and the insurance rate should go down. So
okay, we're up against a hard break. We're going to go ahead and kind of wrap up this conversation on Georgia hands-free law when we get back. We're going to talk more about some other traffic issues. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis. I'm your host this week and every week to bring you your first step in the legal process. This show is designed to help guide you through a legal issue, maybe point you in the right direction, clear up some hurdles, and show you some obstacles. We'll be back with Terrell Thomas and Kayla Johnston right after these messages. You are listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis, and I am your host each and every single week with Lewis on the Law. My show is designed to bring you legal information. This show is all about empowering you, the listener, with the information you need to tackle any legal issue. If you have an issue you'd like to hear on this program, you can go ahead and hit me at jameslewislegal.com. On the last page of my website, there's a contact page. You can just throw me your legal question, and I will bring an attorney on, if I like your question, who knows something about your issue, and we'll talk about it on air. You can always contact me at jameslewislegal.com. You can email me at james@jameslewislegal.com, or you can give me a call at 404-610-0075. Now, I am here in the studio with Kayla Johnston and Terrell Thomas from the City of Atlanta's Public Defender's Office, and they've been awesome today. We're talking about the Georgia hands-free law, the new Georgia hands-free law that's causing a lot of confusion, or at least it confuses me. I didn't think I was as confused as I was when you guys started talking. I'm just like, what? I can't do that. I can't do that. Yeah, it's a lot. So we've gone through a lot here. Why don't we just kind of wrap things up a little bit, talk about where we've been through in this whole thing?
Sure. So to wrap up, texting and driving has been illegal since 2010. The new law, the hands-free law, took place and took effect July 1st, 2018, this year. So you no longer can hold your phone physically hold your phone with your hands or support it with any part of your body. That is the gist of the law. You cannot listen to music on your headphones or any AirPods or any head
And that's part of
device.
this new law.
Yeah.
That wasn't in effect beforehand, right?
Correct. You
Okay.
cannot listen to music in your headphones. You can listen to it in your car stereo system. You can't use your phone to change from song to song or from app to app. You can use your phone for GPS purposes, but you can't hold it. It has to be in a mount. You can use your phone to answer a call while it's in a mount, to start or end the call, and you can use the phone for GPS purposes, and you can look at it for GPS purposes you can start and end your navigation. Now, whether you can actually type in a full address or change the route while you're driving, it's still up for a matter of interpretation. It's not really clear that some of the ambiguities. Now, in the event that you are caught violating this law, if it is your first offense, what you can do is, as a remedy, is you can purchase a phone mount and bring the receipt with you to court.
And I think this is something that's really helpful.
Absolutely.
I mean, I interrupted you, but I really think people need to pay attention to this because someone out there is going to get a ticket on this, and they're going to wonder, what in the world do I have to do now? Go ahead and say that again.
Absolutely. So if this is your first time violating this law, not your second, not your third, you can't keep doing it each time.
But Judge, I bought a new phone mount. This one's better than the last.
Right. You can try it. There's no precedent yet. We'll see what the judge says. You can go non-negotiated and see what she says. But
I don't recommend it.
Right. That is not legal advice. But hypothetically, if you do violate it, it's your first time violating it, you can purchase a phone mount, bring the receipt for the phone mount, which is which should, on the receipt, it should show a date after the violation. You can bring it and show it to the prosecutor or the solicitor, and generally they'll dismiss and merge that charge. Therefore, you won't incur any points. You won't have to pay any fines. Now, in the event that you don't decide to use that on your first time, it's a $50 fine and 1 point. Your second violation is a $100 fine or 2 points on your license. It's not an or. Excuse me.
And
Your third and subsequent. So that meaning your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth, and 10th time, it will be a $150 fine plus 3 points. 15 points on your driver's license, on your Georgia driver's license within a 2-year period, will suspend your license, and then you won't be able to drive.
Bye-bye.
And not to mention, those insurance rates are going to increase.
Absolutely.
That's the part that hurts me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So some of the other collateral effects we discussed with regard to you using your phone while you're driving, you're just going to have to take time off work. A lot of people do not want to take time off of work. You don't want to lose money only to have to go to court and spend more money.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Courts are money driven. So they want you in there. They want you paying fines. So just be cautious. Use your phone mounts. Make sure, you're not using your phone while driving. Just understand if an officer does see you, that is probable cause for them to stop you. And unfortunately, they may uncover other violations.
So if you're riding dirty, leave that phone down.
Absolutely. Suspended license, suspended registration, other document charges, possible drug or alcohol offenses, warrants. It has the snowball
list goes
effect.
on.
Absolutely. Snowball effect.
Snowball
it could turn
effect,
into
exactly.
something huge.
And last point while we're wrapping up is we've just doing some research and diligence. There's been reports that as of September 30th, traffic crash fatalities are down 11% to date. And that is reported
that's
to be
a lot.
correct.
Good,
And
good.
that is reported to be the largest decrease of Georgia traffic fatalities in 10 years. Now, we're not saying that that's solely attributed to the hands-free law, but officials are saying that's one of the main driving forces behind it. And just in conclusion, this hands-free law isn't meant to just be perfect on its face and to solve all traffic accidents or all traffic fatalities. It's just essentially a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah,
So.
that makes sense. Okay, so now wait. While I've got you guys in here, I get tons of questions on stuff like this, and sometimes
What you got
people.
for us?
Okay, so Is there anything you can do about traffic violations? I mean, it seems like if you go into court, I mean, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. You're supposed to be able to present your evidence and argue with the cop. And sometimes it's just your word versus the cop. You ran a red light and the cop's like, yeah, I saw you. And you're like, no, that was a yellow light, And I mean, what can you do? Are there things that you can do here?
Absolutely. There are several things you can do. Most importantly, I would say don't argue with the cop. If the cop is going to pull you over, don't argue with the cop. Wait for your day in court. That's where you're going to make your argument. That's where it's going to be the most beneficial.
That's right.
When you are cited, you want to sign that citation. If
Please
you don't,
sign the citation.
You're going to jail.
Okay.
You're going to jail if you don't sign the citation.
That's not legal advice. It's just what I would do.
We're just giving
in
you
a hypothetical
information.
situation.
We're just giving you information.
I would sign a citation, and that's because, and the reason for that is there's a lot of confusion about, oh, he didn't read me my rights. Oh, I'm not signing that. I'm not agreeing to that. I'm not admitting guilt. Signing is admitting of guilt. No, it's not. When you sign a citation, that is just waiving the notice requirement of that accusation. That citation is an accusation against your person. And so just by signing that, you're waiving notice of that accusation against you and pretty much giving your word. Your word is your bond, right? Mm-hmm. Your word is your bond that you will appear in court to address that citation, that accusation. Now, by refusing to waive that notice and giving your word that you will appear to court to the law enforcement officer, they don't have pretty much any choice but to take you to jail, right? That's how they can guarantee that you'll come to court. What other way would they guarantee that they come to court unless you sign and give your word? So by signing it, you're just giving notice. You're not agreeing to anything or admitting anything in regards to the accusation by signing the citation.
So don't argue with the cop. Go ahead and sign it, take your lumps, and then show up in court. Okay, so you've showed up in court. Is there anything you can do here?
Absolutely. When you get to court, our recommendation is typically you want to get an attorney. You want to get someone to help you out. Someone that's going to be well-versed in the law and be able to direct you and talk with the solicitor and be the mediator between the two of you. Mm-hmm. Specifically in our court, we have various options. You can do pretrial diversion programs, or you can just go forward and...
You could do a pretrial diversion for a traffic ticket?
Absolutely. Wow. There are several diversion programs, and upon completion of the diversion programs, the citation is typically dismissed. Sometimes that is to the client's benefit. But
Absolutely.
If you're in court, you don't want to do a diversion program, you're not eligible for a diversion program, it's time to start fighting your case. So you definitely want to see if they're alleging you ran a stoplight or some sort of traffic control device. First thing I would look for is video. Is there any video? That'll be your best case scenario, that there is some video evidence showing you did not run this light, you did not commit this offense. That'd be the best thing to show that you are innocent, your best defense.
Okay, wait a minute. Video evidence?
Absolutely.
Okay,
if an officer pulls you over, maybe they have a body cam, or not a body cam, a dash cam, or maybe there's a red light.
There's a lot of surveillance, a lot of monitoring at a lot of municipalities and jurisdictions now have the surveillance in regards to whether you ran the red light, either by surveillance or with an officer. So
can you request that in discovery?
That's what attorneys are for.
Okay.
That's the importance of getting an attorney or requesting a public defender to help you advocate your case. We would be able to check into that jurisdiction or that municipality, that intersection, send our investigators out, see if there's actually live recording or actually recordings at that particular intersection, and which department we may need to request, do an open records or subpoena to see if that surveillance is available to prove that, in fact, you did not run a red light, or that you were already, pretty much going through and it wouldn't have been safe for you to stop at that red light or at that traffic control device. That goes to the importance of retaining counsel.
So get a lawyer, because you might need some help. Lord knows. Okay, well, this has been an awesome show, guys. It really has. We got a lot of information out there. I'm glad you guys came in. I want to thank you, Kayla Johnston, Terrell Thomas, once again from the City of Atlanta's Public Defender's Office. And you guys are going to come back every so often and talk and give the public some information, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks,
we're glad to be here.
Yeah, because it's awesome, and I love this because it's really the topic or what this show's all about. Now, we are out of time. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. My name is James Lewis. I want to thank my producer, Sam Davis, and my videographer, Anthony Cook, or multimedia producer. I've downed you with the title there. Can't help it. I slip. I've got I've got another great show for you next week. In honor of Halloween, we're going to talk about the probate process. Right now, I'm watching a spooky ghost series about, a haunted house on a hill, and it's spooky. But anyways, I have an attorney coming in, and we are going to talk you through the probate process. You're listening to Lewis on the Law. See you guys next week.